Hi guys, I'd like to welcome you guys all back to Read with Melanin. Today we are here to do a very, very big reading recap. So I want to preface this with, technically, I recorded the reading recap for August and September, but they never got posted because I was being lazy. I have been going through some serious depression, but that was not the reason that I didn't edit these videos. This was because I was lazy and I was debating if I wanted to just shut down all of my social media altogether. So laziness. But I have books that I want to talk about. So you're going to see the first clip. The first clip, I'm going to be in a completely different outfit for August and September. And then you'll see this version of Brittany where we're going to talk about October, November, and December's reading. So enjoy. So I started the third Percy Jackson series, which is the Apollo series. It's the first book is The Hidden Oracle by Rick Riordan. This one, okay. The first Percy Jackson is cool. The second Percy Jackson is better than Harry Potter. Yes, I said it. And the third series, I don't know yet, but the first book is promising. So, you know, we still have like trickles of like previous characters from the other series, but also we have, excuse me, oh my gosh, we have like the whole world is still existing. Plus, I think like the next Percy Jackson specific story one comes out this month as well. I think that's like book 7 of the original Percy Jackson. So like I know that it's 5 books, and then Chalice of the Gods was 6, and then there's another one, and that's him like his final year before he goes to college. I don't know, Rick Riordan could keep writing in this world and I'd probably keep reading it because I honestly slept on him for that second series and I don't know why I didn't read it, but honestly it slaps better than Harry Potter. For many reasons. I'll go into that maybe another day, but yeah. The other 2 books, well, the first one is, I think I was finishing the Wright Brothers series by Christina C. Jones, because I think a couple months ago I had randomly picked up the second Wright Brothers book. So I read the first one and now I read the last one. So the last one is, I think, the oldest brother with the daughter, and his is a second chance romance. It was cute. Okay, so hear me out. I think that it could be a series. I'm not gonna say Tubi. It needs to be a series on a different network, but it needs to be a series, and it could literally be, is the neighborhood called Blackwood? Whatever neighborhood Christina C. Jones' neighborhood is called, it should be called that. And so like every season, kind of like Bridgerton, every season should be focused on a different couple, and it should just go through the whole town, not just one family. Like it could start with the Wright brothers and then it could go like through the whole thing. 1, we don't have to make characters black. They already are black. 2, it's set more like in our time now, so I feel like it would really give me the rom-com feel that I'm looking for. I do think it should be more of a rom-com instead, not like as serious as Bridgerton. I feel like it should be more rom-com, but I would enjoy the heck out of that. Like, I don't know. I don't have a show to reference to like make that work, but I enjoyed this one. I think of the 3 Wright brothers, I think I enjoyed the Doctor brother the most. I feel like his storyline was very much giving me like a Grey's Anatomy storyline. I've never watched Grey's Anatomy, but I don't know. But I feel like Shonda would totally take that storyline and just make it interracial. So I listened to Curvy Girl Summer by Daniel Allen. This was my first Daniel Allen book. I got the audiobook from Macmillan Audio, so thank you, Macmillan Audio. And this story is focused on, I forgot her name. It's focused on a girl who's a plus size girly, and she wants to find a date She wants to find her love, but she also wants to find a date for her 30th birthday. And when I tell you, I found this book so relatable for so many reasons. Obviously, bigger body, but also like the way that she interacted with her family members, like the way her uncle was like constantly on her case about being overweight and not being able to find a man. Like, it's the way that people involuntarily like offer like advice and stuff to you when you are a single woman in your 30s or approaching 30. It's like when a woman hits 30, like people act like just her existence means you have to offer her like love advice. I don't know. I felt that strongly in my bones. There were many scenes. I mean, I will say that the slow burn of this book, I think I officially understand the people who say they hate the slow burn, because when that fire ignited, I was like, wait, this is... Of all the ways that that fire was ignited, I was like, oh, this is what we're doing? This is what we're doing? Okay, all right. I would actually love this as a rom-com. I feel like at this point, y'all are gonna be so sick of me, but hear me out. This would be a cute rom-com. I don't know who would play the parts, but it's like, especially the dating parts where she's like dating different guys off the dating apps. That junk would be so funny as a montage. It's happened before in many other movies, but like that would be so cute. Plus, like, you have to find two actors that have great chemistry on screen, because I feel like the chemistry between the main character and the main guy of this book, I feel like a lot of their chemistry is just in their existence between each other. And so I need that to play out on screen. I feel like personally, it would be so cute. And it should be called Curvy Girl Summer. And when it starts the opening scene, when it starts the opening credits, they need to play Hot Girl Summer by Meg. Like it just needs to set the tone. And yeah, I don't know. Somebody hire me, babes, because if you need somebody to read books to figure out which one should be adapted onto screen, I got you, because that's literally what I've been reading these romance books for. But yeah, that's what I read in the month of July. So we're gonna start with the books that I read in August. August was our annual Naked Readathon, so I did read a lot of romance books. I also had some DNFs. And you know what? Let's start with the DNFs. Let's start with the DNFs. So the DNFs that I did for the month of August, I'm sorry, it is This Ravenous Fate. What I wanted was 1920s Harlem Renaissance vampires, black vampires. What I got was me not caring about any of the characters, and I think I was like a third of the way through, and I just decided, nah, I don't care. Plus, I found myself whenever it was time to read, I was reaching for everything but this book, and so I decided to just accept the fact that I was not feeling the book, and you know, life's too short, so we DNF it. Another book that I DNF'd is Let the Games Begin. So I was actually given the audiobook for this book by Macmillan Audio, and it's basically that tells the story of a girl whose dream is to work kind of like as a journalist kind of person for the Olympics, ends up going to the Olympics, but like things don't end up going as planned, and so she's trying to make the best of it. And the guy is this superstar athlete from the UK. And when I tell you I wanted to like this story, I did. But it was so long, drawn out, and just like, I feel like when you're reading a romance book, hold on, I had to turn my fan off. I just realized my fan is still on. I realized like when I'm reading a romance, when I tell you aggravated is not the word. It was so long and drawn out. It didn't feel like it was angst. It just felt like it was just a bunch of unnecessary writings. Like you could have chopped out huge sections of this book because I just did not care. And it was told in the span of, I think, a couple of days. The problem is, it felt like it was the longest days of my life reading these books. So I don't even know how far I got on. Actually, I can tell you. Because I was like, you know what? Macmillan sent this to me. Like, I should try to, like, give it a chance. Oh, dang. I think I didn't even... I'm 49% complete of the book, and I just can't do it. I don't know how to explain it. It's just something about it was missing for me. I didn't actually feel they had any type of connection or anything other than they found each other attractive. I did not feel it, so I DNF'd it. So I finished the series by Kayla Rivera called the Cici Rios series. So the third book is called Cici Rios and the Queen of Brujas. Okay. Again, I don't know. I think I've said this a couple of times when reading the Cici series. I would have loved to see this whole series. Kind of how they did that limited series on Netflix. With that, I think it was a Mayan story, the one where Zoe Saldana voiced the main character. I think this would be a great limited series because the second and third book kind of should have been the same book. I don't know how to explain this feeling. I know that publishers are pushing for trilogies because, you know, that's just the big thing, but I don't know if it needed a whole third book. There were a lot of spaces in the book that I was kind of just like bored reading. And I also had to check myself because I realized, one, like, I'm an adult reading a middle grade book. I feel like middle grade me would have ate this all the way up. I don't think I would have had any qualms with this book whatsoever. The whole premise of the story is that Cici's sister is kidnapped by El Soberón, and she does everything in her power to get her sister back, and that includes becoming a bruja, which is frowned upon in her city. And it takes the trail of 3 books and it unravels a bunch of family secrets, really like shows Cici who she is and things of that nature. I like this book a lot. I love the characters. I like the character development. I love the side characters. Lion is my favorite character of this series. If you've read the books, then you know. Lion and Fox are my favorite of the series. And I personally think this is a good middle grade series. I'm actually thinking that Melanin Eclectic might have to sponsor like a elementary school library to like get these books in the library, because I thought it was done really, really well. And I enjoyed the series as an adult. And I'm sure that younger me would have ate this up. So publishers, please take younger me's advice, not older me's advice for middle grade. Thanks. We're doing the fantasies first. So I read Avatar, The Reckoning of Roku. And y'all know I am a huge Avatar, The Last Airbender fan. I read all the graphic novels, I play, I do everything involving Avatar. So when they announced that they were coming out with Roku and that it was going to be by a different author, I was intrigued. And surprisingly, what I got was even better than what I was expecting. And I also have critiques. So The Reckoning of Roku, it tells the origin story for Avatar Roku. So that is the Avatar before Aang. And it starts off where he learns that he is the Avatar. And so we are immediately broken off into 2 separate voices. We are listening and seeing it through the eyes of Avatar Roku. And we are also looking at it from his best friend, Fire Prince Sozin. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, Sozin is a sociopath and I love to see it. There's something about a well-written villain. There's something about a villain that's like, that truly believes in his convictions, that justify like how he is. And I feel like this book really gave me the realization that it's like Sozin does not have any redeeming qualities, and I as a person am okay with that, because it's like even the stuff that I realize Sozin does is from like trauma, because the whole Fire Nation family is full of trauma. It's still like, I don't know, I loved him but I loved him because he was awful, if that makes any sense. And the surprising whole character that I was not ready for was Gyatso. Monk Gyatso. You remember him? Aang's mentor? Yeah, he is in the story, and I love the way that they brought him into the story. I love the level of imperfection that this story has with all three of the characters. So you also hear a little bit from Monk Gyatso's side as the story is commencing. And Monk Gyatso is going through his own things. You guys, I don't know if it's I don't know if it's in the graphic novels, I don't remember. But like, you learn a lot about Monk Gyatso. I'm not gonna spoil any of that. And I just wanted to get those two out because we need to talk about Roku. We remember Roku from the stories when Zuko is reading about, you know, that one episode where Zuko is reading from Sozin's side and Aang is with the spirit version of Roku learning about his story. So it's weird to realize that Roku is not this strong, confident being that we just automatically assumed he is, because, you know, it's like the same thing kind of happened with Kyoshi. It's the same thing happening with Roku, where you're seeing their growth not only as a person but as an avatar, and being a person of the four nations and not just being a person of their one nation. It's very interesting the way that they've chosen to display Roku. I want more of Roku. I felt like this is just the very beginning, and plus, like, this was just Roku when he went to the Air Nomad Temple. So I'm wondering if we're gonna get all 4 books. I wonder if we're gonna get 4 books from Roku, unlike Kyoshi. I still believe we deserve 2 more books from Kyoshi. I'm not gonna lie, I DNF Yum Chen. She was boring. I'm sorry. But I would love to read 4 books from Roku. They could just give us, like, this book focused on his time at the Air Nomad Temple. I feel like the next book should focus, what was it, Earth? Whichever one comes next. I feel like we should get 1 for each one. And I also want us to keep getting him and Sozin at the same time. I just want to see their development both, because they are such a conflict to each other, but the way that they became friends is so gut-wrenching and heartwarming at the same time. So if you're interested, highly recommend it. I enjoyed it. So another book that I was very excited to read was Road to Ruin by Hana Lee. And I can say that I am disappointed with the way that this book ended. So the premise of the story that we are given is that it focuses on a bike courier who has a magic that enables them to be able to travel between the towns. And she is delivering secret love letters between the prince of one town and like the princess of another town. And there's a whole lot of conflict that happens in between this. And I wanted more from Hana Lee. I felt like if you're gonna give me this kind of dystopian, it is more of a dystopian style fantasy. If you're gonna give me this kind of dystopian style fantasy in this magical world where I know nothing about, I need clear explanations about the magic system. Not only do I need a clear explanation about the magic system, but I need to know what magic is available. Because every time I'm thinking like, oh, it's gonna be one thing or the other, it's not. It's very confusing when it's done like that. And so I personally just wanted more from that. Also, I found the romance to be believable but not. And I felt like we were introduced a character just to throw away a character. I also didn't like that either. I don't know. I was left very disappointed with this book, but I haven't decided if I'm going to continue the series or not. We'll see. That's the best way that I can give it to you guys. We'll see. And so let's get into the books that I read during Naked. So one of the group read for this year was The Last Sad Love Song by Kimberly Brown. This was my first time reading Kimberly. And this book was in fact fluff. So if you guys were a part of Naked, you guys know that Troy was like, I just want a book with no trauma, no nothing. You get that book. You get that with this book. It's literally just the best case scenario of getting into a relationship. Like, This book is the way that we, like, if you went through a really hard breakup and your bounce back was the best case scenario, it would be this book. I forgot the main character girl name, but the guy's name is Theo, I think. And yeah, he's like a professor at this prestigious like school for kids, and she is a baker at a bakery, and everything is just perfect. I have no critiques on that. I just couldn't figure out the timeline. At one point I was like, are we moving really fast, or are they moving really slow? Like, is this a rebound that's turning into something else? I don't know. I felt like it let me know that it's like, I like rom-com style romance books, but I need some drama. Like, I don't need perfection. I need the drama, because I have never heard of a man that exists like the man in that book. He's too perfect. I'm just gonna briefly mention that I reread the Thorns and Roses series because that was one of the prompts, and I ended up just rereading all 3 of them. So that was The Reinvention of the Rose by CCJ, The Unbroken Rose, and The Rose That Got Away. And I do know that there is a continuation of The Roses and Thorns in her motorcycle series, but I decided that I was gonna reread that series like a little later because I think it's still too fresh in my mind, but also not. But basically, it is the story of 3 different women. 2 of them are love stories, 1 of them is not, but they were previously roses, which are these top secret special agent spy chicks. And once their whole thing was dismantled, they're kind of like trying to readjust into regular everyday life. And so you follow their journey, and they each take a different journey. It's very nice to see. And this was my first introduction into Christina C. Jones. So I feel like these books will always have a special place in my heart. So yeah, as usual, I enjoyed those, but they were rereads, so I'm not really gonna talk about them. The next book that I read was The Culmination of Everything by Christina C. Jones. Basically my apps were acting up at work and I needed something to listen to. And I always keep a couple like romance books, audiobooks, downloaded on my phone in case like I have a time, and we had a time. So if I'm not mistaken, this one focuses on a girl who kind of needs a reset in her life, and so she packs all her stuff up and goes up into the mountains and like books a staycation there to basically have like a eat, love, pray moment in the mountains. And she ends up not only like hurting herself, but end up meeting this guy, and she's dealing with a lot of personal trauma. He's kind of a jerk. And this is what I mean when I say like, I like my men to be imperfect, because he was a jerk for absolutely no reason. But also like, he was sweet. Like, I need my men to be balanced, and I need the romance books to give me balanced men. And that was kind of giving it to me. Plus, he already had the lumberjack part attached to him. So in my mind, we were kind of already there. But yeah, that was a really cute, quick listen to while I was at work. I liked it. The next book I ended up reading because it was available at my library, and my reading has been a little interesting this year because it's kind of been like, when it's available at the library, I'll get it. So that was Between Friends and Lovers by Charlene Obuobi? O-B-U-O-B-I. Obu-O-B, I think. Okay, so this story is focused on the main character. I forgot her name because I read this book in August, so my brain is kind of foggy. It focuses on this girl who is best friends with this super rich white guy, and he brings her ultimate bully to this event that they're going to. And this is when she clicks in her head that like, that boy does not like her. No matter how long she's had a crush on him, it's never gonna work. At this very same party, she meets this writer. I think his name was Malcolm or Marcus. One of those. I'm gonna call him Marcus. She meets Marcus at this party and they immediately click, but like, oh, she's a doctor, but she's a social media girly. And so she hasn't actually practiced medicine in a while, but she's known as the doctor on Instagram. And so they end up meeting, and they end up feeling each other, and it turns into like this whole dramatic thing. Again, this book would actually be a good rom-com. I would watch this rom-com 1000%, hands down. I love that the main character is this shy, like, he kind of came upon being famous on accident, and he's very shy and introverted. But he's also, you know, a man that handles his. I appreciated that about him. I love the main character female in this story, because we've always, like, I don't know, I'm gonna speak for me. There is always that one guy that you've had a crush on for forever, but he has friend zoned you in so many different ways. And no matter how many times he friend zones you, like, in your mind, you don't let him fully go. There's always that one guy. And, you know, it's like the reminder. It's like, don't settle being just his friend. Like, go find your bae. It's kind of the story vibes that I get from this book. I enjoyed it. I forgot the ranking that I gave it. I didn't enjoy it enough to where I was like, oh, I gotta buy this book, but I enjoyed it enough to where I actually want to check out the author and see if they give us anything else. I'm not gonna speak much on the rich white character because it plays into a different trope that I don't like, but I did like the other two characters. So the last book on the list for the books that I read in August is Love in the Red Zone by Love Belvin. So if y'all know, one of my darling friends, Oshale, is a huge Love Belvin fan. Since I have met Oshale and we actually decided to like be friends, I've known that Love Belvin is one of her top contenders. But her and Troy Nicole have both told me that the Connecticut King series is a bomb series. And so I decided, why not get my feet wet? What I didn't know is that it was a series written by Love Belvin and Christina C. Jones at the same time. Didn't know that. So I am going to start the second book at some point. But this story, listen, I felt good emotions and annoyed emotions. The main female character, so the story focuses on this quarterback who fell from grace. He just got out of prison. He's trying to get his life back together. He wants to get back on the football team, but right now he's coaching a little leagues team kind of in secret where nobody really knows who he is. He takes a liking to one of the little boys on the team, where he meets his mom and learns that like him and his mom are about to be homeless. And so he offers them a place to stay until she can get on her feet or get the Section 8 housing that she's trying to get, like all of that. And in this process, they fall in love at everything. And their love is toxic in my personal opinion, but I can see how and why people might relate to it or why they would disagree that it's toxic. And if you've read the books, you know, I've talked about this with Troy and Oshale many times. Like, as I was reading it, I was like, this ain't healthy. I mean, it could be healthy later, but at this current time, it is not healthy what they're doing. But I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I enjoyed the book. I do plan on reading it. I think it's like 10 books deep. So I guess I gotta wait until I'm in my like real deal romance mood to dive into that series. I don't know. We might do one. I don't know, because I'm in a fantasy mood right now and fantasy is not giving me what I'm asking for. So we're gonna figure out what to do with that. All right, guys, so this is the end of part 1. I realized that we were just getting way too long with the video. So if you guys want to see the other books that I read for this year, don't forget to come back. We're probably going to post this for the same week so you guys can get it all in one week. Let me know what your favorite books were for 2024. What books are you looking forward to in 2025? Leave those comments down below in the comment box. And until the next video, guys.